Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience episode number 470. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. An authentic storyteller that is not only preserving history, but also sharing the future of cinema and shaping the future of cinema as the founder of Room for Us. Welcome, Edford Banuel.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Dr. Richards.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
Awesome. Well, I started Room for Us Productions with the mindset of telling stories of Black and Brown achievers in our community. My focus was to showcase everyday Black and Brown people who are movers and shakers that may not be celebrities. They may not be athletes or songwriters or entertainers in that fashion, but they are boots to the ground, making a difference. And it was important for me to showcase their stories because they are creating room at the table with opportunities that may have been closed in the past.
Tell us the backstory. You didn't wake up and just start doing films.
So, growing up, I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey. My mother, who was a single parent, was very responsible with exposing me and my sister to the arts. She would always take us to Broadway plays in New York. One of the activities that I enjoyed most as a child was going to the movies on Saturdays, and as well as watching earlier projects from filmmakers such as Spike Lee, Robert Townsend, John Singleton, just to name a few. But, when I watched those movies, I was fascinated with seeing Black culture and Black stories shown on the big screen. So that inspired me a lot. That's what kind of sparked that interest. And then, I love, who didn't love watching The Cosby Show and just seeing like a Black family who were successful. In addition to that, a different world. That's what inspired me to want to go to an HBCU. So those were some of my early influences of how I got interested to want to be in the arts.
Did you major in the arts? Did you major in film?
Yep. So I graduated from Howard University. I was a film major, business minor, and it was important for me to, one, go to an HBCU, but two, go to attend an HBCU that had a pretty robust film program. And I'm glad I did, because 25, 30 years later, now most of the people that I work with in the industry were my fellow classmates.
And talk about after graduation, did you actually go straight into film? Did you go into corporate America?
Well, that's a great question because, life has its journeys. I moved to Atlanta upon graduation. I was working in the television sales industry. I was working with a television rep firm that sold advertising time for local television affiliate stations. And while I was pursuing that, to have financial stability, but also learning another aspect of the business, which was very important, which is sales. I know a lot of us creatives, we want to just focus on the creative side, but you have to have a nice balance of both, learning the sales, the marketing, and the creative. And so while I was working in the sales side, I was also pursuing my career independently as an independent filmmaker by making short films.
Tell us your first short film and what did you learn from that?
Well, the first short film that I've ever done was a short film while I was a student at Howard University, right? It was called City Streets. And it was actually like a music video that I did for a local rap artist in a rap group in DC. And the whole goal of that short film or music video was to really capture the essence of the city. Growing up, Howard University was right in the middle of the heart of Northwest DC. and in the urban part of the city. So being able to capture that black and white and be able to see like, from the everyday workers, the homeless, just the culture of the city, being able to capture that, I was fascinated by that. And then that led me to continue to use short films as a calling card for me as a filmmaker because I didn't have the budgets at the time to do a major feature film. So what I did was I decided to just focus on making short films, submitting that to film festivals to create an audience for myself as a filmmaker. Upon graduating, I did a short film called Unjust Cause, which focused on police brutality. At the time, New York City was high with police brutality. And I did the short film, submitted it to Showtime Networks. They had what was called a Showtime Networks Black Filmmaker Showcase. And the winner had the opportunity to receive a $30,000 grant. So I went ahead, I made this short film. I raised capital from friends and family. At that time, we didn't have like Facebook or social media. At that time, I would just email friends and family the vision, a synopsis, like a pitch deck. And I was able to raise $100 per person and raise ultimately $8,000 to do the short film. And I submitted it to the Network showcase. I got a call randomly out the blue stating that I won the competition. So I said, to God be the glory.
Awesome.
Yes, yes.
So tell us, Edford, another one of your success stories. That's a great story in terms of film.
Yes. I would say, in terms of filmmaking, after that screening, I actually built a network with more other filmmakers because, one thing I realized, your success is not just solely off of your efforts. Sometimes it's a community that comes together to bring your vision to life. And so I did another feature film, my first feature film called The Last Adam. And I partnered up with a local producer, Chandra McDonald, and Errol Bailey, who was a orthopedic surgeon, as a matter of fact. And we did a feature film about his story growing up in Alabama as an Army brat kid. And we submitted it at the time. The Atlanta Film Festival had a Southeastern Media Award where you submitted your script, you submitted the works of the director and a budget, and the committee made a decision to allow you to win a grant. And so we won a grant for in-kind services from post-production facilities, equipment facilities, because in production that costs a lot of money. So being able to have these major companies in your city to come behind the project to support you and offer you these in-kind services, that meant the world. So we submitted the film, got it done, and you could find that on Amazon Prime or Tubi. Yep.
There are so many brands and businesses that are dominating.
Yep.
It's a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why?
Oh, that's a great. Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. I would say I really admire what Tyler Perry is doing. Tyler Perry Studios, as it relates to the film world, I really appreciate how he is creating opportunities. Just being a black man. let's let's not even avoid that. A black man being able to raise the capital, create a studio, and that pays homage to all the creators who have paved the way. In addition to that, to be able to broker distribution with other major platforms and be able to get the financing to do it, where you don't have to come out the pocket to do it. So I would say, he is one of the people that I really truly admire and respect, and can follow his business model. There's another brand, that I've been watching, over the past couple of years, is Byron Allen. You know what I mean? How he's able to create an amazing amount of financing to be able to offer major corporate companies billions of dollars to acquire their business. you know That's major. And, I think we all kind of slept on Byron Allen and his, late night programming and infomercials, but he has successfully figured out a way to raise the capital and be effective and be an industry leader. And the list goes on and on. We can go on and on for days, but those are just a couple of people that come to mind that I totally respect and admire their business. And Oprah Winfrey. I cannot not mention Oprah Winfrey. You know what I mean? What she has accomplished with OWN and just accomplished it just in general. With the color purple and just the countless amount of content she's been bringing that represents Black culture, and she is the epitome of success and Black excellence. So, without a doubt.
Absolutely. And both Oprah and Tyler getting to that $1 billion status, the rag to riches. I mean, that's true rags to riches.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Speaking of raising capital, how did you raise capital? You talked about the friends and family for that one film. With your businesses in general, how did you raise capital to continue to go on and on with your business to scale and grow?
The whole saying, your network is the equivalent to your net worth. And so one thing I realized is you have to network with not just creative people. A lot of times the creatives are looking for the money. They don't have the money, but you have to be able to, because you never know where you're going to get $500 here, $1,000 here, 100,000 there. And it's from people who are just successful business owners that want to just get their hand in something different. And so what I found is being able to network across all platforms, whether you are in hospitality, whether you are in technology, whether you work in real estate. I think it's just having just a wide network of individuals who just love business. And, if they see an opportunity that makes sense, that falls in line with their business goals, then that's a lot of times that's where you're getting your capital from.
Edford, you mentioned technology. Talk to us about technology, AI in the film industry. Where do you think that's going?
Whoa, that's a great question. That is a great question. I think AI is a great tool. I don't think you should be using AI to create your intellectual property. I think it's a great tool for if you are cross-referencing, like if you're writing a story and you want to just use that as a reference to find better ways to describe it, or if you are working on a pitch deck and you are working on copy for your pitch deck, it's a great resource and a tool to cross-reference with, but it's not a tool that I would want to use for creative inception on a project, because nothing can ever replace the human. God created us to be amazing beings. He planted that seed within us to gave us the vision to have, to be able to create. So we shouldn't use technology to be the creator. That's my thoughts.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not, and they've inspired you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that person and what are you saying to that person?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say as it relates to filmmaking, I go back to Spike Lee. Spike Lee really inspired me a lot. Like I watched a lot of his earlier projects. And what I love about Spike Lee was his courageousness to not be afraid to tackle issues that dealt with social commentary or issues in our communities. He was not afraid to tackle it head on and tell the stories and do it in a very stylized way. And then be able to merge his style of filmmaking with now partnering up with Nike and Michael Jordan to do the earlier Air Jordan commercials and brand, So I really admired his style, his way of doing things.
Edford, who are your top two influencers and what lessons did they teach you?
I would say my top two influencers was my grandmother. Let me just say that. I'm not going to even put it on anyone publicly. It's my grandmother. My first and foremost, being able to. She's the rock. She's the foundation. She's the backbone of our family. She is just courageous, even despite her current medical conditions. She doesn't bite, she doesn't hold back or bite her tongue for anything. She represents strength. And my mom, my mother was a single parent, just being able to, her perseverance, her courageousness, her drive, to make sure that my sister was always taken care of no matter what. And as a child, hearing that little voice in your ear, like as a young man, you want to roam, you want to be free, you want to be your own independent. And it's funny because like a lot of the things that she might have told me and impressed upon me as a child that I didn't understand. Now that I'm a father, I get it. I find myself when I'm talking to my son, dropping those seeds of wisdom to him as well. So I would say those are two of my biggest influencers.
And shout out, say their name.
Shout out to my grandmother, Ruth Bryan. Shout out to my mother, Rosemary Banuel. And but it's also just a community of family, like my uncle James Bryan, who passed away. God bless his soul. But when I moved to Atlanta, having somebody to kind of be your shepherd, you know what I mean, and help guide you and give you that man wisdom. I think a lot of us as young Black men, we don't have a male figure in our life to tell us the real, to give us really hard critique without us taking offense to it. He has been that for me, as well as other family members. But I don't know. It's like, a lot of times I feel like, we recognize like celebrities but the people who are closest to us in our everyday life are the ones that we should give the roses to as well.
And my sincere sympathy for the loss of your uncle.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of fatherhood, talk about fatherhood and managing a business.
Oh, I think, well, so my son now, he's 22 years old. So I feel like at this point, fatherhood and managing a business is a little different now. My conversations with him are a lot different. Although he's not in my house on a day-to-day basis because he's in college. But one thing I've learned with fatherhood, you can't take the old-fashioned approach with, if I tell you to do this, this is the way it has to be. You have to lead by example. You have to lead from the front, not the back. And one thing I've always tried to do is, like, what's important to me is to have my son know my innermost thoughts. As I'm going through business, I'm walking through the process with him so he understands that. So whether he decides he wants to pursue filmmaking or not, he gets a firsthand look at, my process, my thought process, and how I do business. And I see already how that has motivated and inspired him as well.
Edford, what is your zone of genius?
I would say my zone of genius is, being able to come up with an idea, concept, and really watch it manifest and come to life. It's funny. I just had a recent conversation with a good friend of mine. We were just talking about our childhood, how we grew up. And one of the things something that may have been perceived as a bad thing was me as a child. I would daydream. I would daydream in class. And I remember just being transparent, like the teacher would say to my mom, like, what is going on with him? He's not paying attention. He's not paying attention. Is everything all right? As I got older, I realized that daydreaming became something as a gift for me, being able to visualize images, visualize things in my head to create these stories that manifest to life. And that's how I'm able to do filmmaking, because filmmaking and directing is about being able to take an idea, a concept, be able to visualize it in your head and watch it come to life in whatever type of platform you project it on. So, and being able to articulate your vision to a wide community of people that you work with.
I've heard a saying about your why should make you cry
Mm.
that big. And a lot of times when your why makes you cry, it propels you to your purpose. Tell us your why. Why do you do what you do?
I think it's important for me. My why is I want to leave a legacy. My biggest fear is being on this earth and not fulfilling my assignment. I think I'm clear that we are all here for a reason and an assignment. And once that assignment has been fulfilled, then we're on to the next, whatever good Lord has for us in store. So my why is to be able to leave a legacy, to be able to positively impact anybody that I encounter, whether it be for a short period of time or for a long period of time. And to make a difference, I don't want to just create content or projects that don't leave a legacy, that don't have an impact. And that's why I do projects like the Level Up Experiment, where I'm focusing on empowering HBCU students, giving them the opportunity to work with different businesses in the community where they're learning skill sets that they can take from the classroom to the real world of business and entrepreneurship. So that's my why.
You talked about legacy. When it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
I want my name to be on the building at a university, the Edford Banuel School of Communications. That's what I would love. Yes.
You talked about impact. How do you make impact daily?
I make impact daily by, I would say it starts with small tasks. First and foremost, how I make impact daily is keeping commitments to myself. Whatever my goal for the day is, do that successfully, whether it be one goal or 10 goals, it doesn't matter. Because if I don't keep the commitments to myself, then I'm lying to myself. I'm robbing myself from my full potential. So it starts with myself. And then it starts with commitments to keeping my word with the people that I work with.
Mental wellness and
Mhm.
entrepreneurship. Talk about it.
It's important. You have to be one to be at your best and operate at your best. You have to have a spiritual foundation. You have to exercise. You have to exercise. You got to keep your body healthy. And then also you have to do the things that make you feel whole mentally, whether it be a prayer, whether it be just taking time to yourself to have balance and live life. You can't just in my world, I don't believe in just work, because you need a source to even be inspired. So you have to live life in order to be able to be inspired. And I truly believe in having balance and doing things like traveling, going on a vacation, spending simple time with your friends and family, having fellowship, doing the things that make you feel complete. So I think that ties back into mental wellness.
And what does self-care look like for Edford?
Oh my gosh. I am the ultimate bougie. Man. So self-care looks like for me, like I like going to the gym, I like getting massages. I like to I'm a fragrance guy, so I love candles, I love colognes. I just like doing the things that make me feel good. You know what I mean? Getting my hair cut, staying groomed. Those are the things that I enjoy for my personal self-care, and eating right. Eating at too many fine restaurants here in Atlanta. Yeah.
What fills your cup?
I would say what fills my cup is being in an environment where you feel welcomed, receiving love from friends and family, and giving love, giving back, doing stuff for people that's unsolicited and you can see the joy on their face, being able to create opportunities for, someone that fills my cup. So I think I would say giving back fills my cup.
What problem exists in the world today that you'd like to solve?
I would say the problem that I see in the world that exists that I would like to see solved is just creating more diversity, creating opportunities where Black folks we can be in leading roles and get the pay that we deserve. You know what I mean? And not have to take a pay cut from someone who's of another race that's doing less than us. I would love to see more Black executives in Hollywood or positions where we are decision makers. I feel like we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go as well. I would like to see more Black entrepreneurs, young Black entrepreneurs to run successful companies and get the capital that they need to really scale with their business. So those are the things that I would like to see, or problems in the world that I would like to see solved.
Absolutely. And speaking of capital, there are a lot of emerging businesses, specifically African American businesses, that is one of the challenges raising
Mhm.
capital. What advice would you give them as a seasoned entrepreneur?
The advice that I would say to raise capital is first and foremost believe in yourself, know your worth, and protect your intellectual property. I feel like a lot of times we jump out, we may have a great idea, but we don't do the proper steps to protect our intellectual property. So whether it be get your IP trademark or, consult with an attorney, put the value and the money in the things that's going to absolutely protect you long term and actually help you make more money. So that's the first thing. And the second thing I would say is just continue to network, expose yourself, step out of your box, expose yourself to a wide variety of different individuals and different industries because you don't know where your source is going to come from. If you're creative, it's nothing wrong with networking with other creatives, but be able to have your pitch or whatever your 30-second pitch may be or your elevator pitch may be, perfect that and be able to go in a room with anyone. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. So that's what I would say. And don't be afraid to fail forward. That would be one of my biggest advice to entrepreneurs or anybody that's looking to raise capital or looking to do anything of significance. Don't be afraid to fail forward. And the failure is the learning process, and that's how you become better.
Speaking of failing forward, talk about your greatest failure
Hmm.
and what was your biggest takeaway from that?
My biggest failure and my biggest takeaway from that, and I don't know if I would even classify it as a failure. For a while, I stopped making films. And in hindsight, I realized that I was taking on this journey just to live a little bit more, to have more experiences. So when I actually came back to filmmaking in the sense that I'm back at now, I have a greater story to tell because I've been exposed to people, life, and I feel like, and at first, my friends would say, "Man, you're so talented. You should get back to doing it. You got to get back to doing it." And I say, when it's the time, when I'm ready. And I think, for me, it was more about me being ready. And, I don't care how much somebody believes in you, you have to believe in yourself. I had to live life. It's funny, like, and I'm not ashamed to say it, like I worked multiple different jobs as an entrepreneur. Worked a little bit in real estate. I sold life insurance. I worked at running a personal training department at a gym. But in that process, I've encountered with some amazing people that all kind of inspired me with so many different stories. And so I wouldn't classify that as a failure. To me, it was almost a step back to take 25 steps forward.
Advice you wish you had followed.
That's a great question. That's a great question. I think the advice that I wish I had followed is maybe find my wife in college. you know, don't wait till you get later in life because you're all stuck in your ways. So maybe that's the advice.
Edford, what was that aha moment when you knew you were going to be successful?
I tell you what, the aha moment for me when I think back, I had several aha moments, but I would say when I won the Showtime Black Filmmaker Showcase Award, that really planted a seed in me that I can't even explain. Like just the power of belief, the power of speaking words in the universe, the words of affirmation. Be careful what you speak, because at that time I just had unwavering faith and belief that I was going to make that project happen. So that's when I filled out the application. I filled out an email and sent it out to over 100 of my friends. Not even worried, because I knew that I had such a great idea, that a message that I needed to share with the world, and I wanted the people to get behind me. And so, and when I raised, I never forget that afternoon. I was at work and I sent out the email, and I just start getting the replies back. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yes, yes, yes. How do you want the money? I'll send you a check. Da-da-da-da. And then when I actually saw that happen, making the project, and then submitting it to different film festivals, and then finally getting a call from Showtime Networks, it was like, I thought it was a prank call. I didn't. And so, so to be able to see that whole process come to life, it created like a confidence and a belief system in myself that told me, you know what, just start walking towards it. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. Just know that, have the faith that it will happen in the order it needs to happen in.
You are really dropping some value bombs there. And I do want you to talk to the person in the audience that's listening.
Mhm.
And they've had a lot of fail forward moments, uh,
Mhm.
and they're struggling. What advice would you give them?
So I would say we are human, and I don't care how much success you have had, you always going to have different ranges of emotion. you know, like some days you wake up, you feel like you're on top of the world. Some days you feel like the little mice, you want to just hide in the corner. Some days you're ready to just be amazing, and just know that that's just the process. That's just a journey of life. But in that process, set a goal. Don't be afraid to set a goal. And you don't have to have every day, you don't have to have a big to-do list. Set one thing that you need to get accomplished in that day, and make sure you get it done with the utmost excellence. Because if you do that and you take it day by day, guess what's going to happen? It gives you that confidence for the next day. And then when you look up, the project is done. You've completed whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be a project. It could be a goal in life. It could be whatever it is that you set out to do. But it starts with those when I tell you those daily, Dr. Richards, those daily commitments to myself has made such a difference. Setting a goal for the day, setting a goal for the week, and going out and getting that done.
What is the biggest takeaway that you want the audience to leave with today?
I would say the biggest takeaway that I want the audience to, well, one, follow the works of Edford Banuel and Room for Us production. That's the first thing. And I would say every day that you have health, strength, and the opportunity to fulfill your purpose, step into your day boldly and courageously. Don't be afraid. And don't be afraid because know that there's going to be a learning process. There's going to be a learning curve, and there is going to be mistakes that you're going to make along the way. But in the mistake, there's the blessing, because now it teaches you to do it better. And now you have the ability to show someone else who may be in the starting their journey, and that you can coach and you can mentor them on and give them advice. So that would be my biggest takeaway.
Having an attitude of gratitude is so powerful. I want you to have a thank fest. And I want you to thank people and situation that has inspired your life. Have at it.
Oh man. I would like to thank my community for always just believing in my community, meaning my family, my friends, for always believing in me, always giving me words of affirmation, giving me the push to continue my journey, even getting back into the world of filmmaking at this level 3 years ago and be starting Room for Us Productions and now being able to produce my first reality show. I've worked on the scripted side, independent film side, but to be able to have the opportunity. So I want to shout out to the network. You know who you are for believing in me, believing in my company, Room for Us, and the amazing team that I work with to actually bring this vision to life. Shout out to my co-executive producer, Monique Younger, for, joining forces with me and, helping this vision come to life. Be a part of the integral part to make the vision come to life. And I just wanted, I'm just grateful. I'm really just grateful for everything.
Edford, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer.
Edford, what is next? And Mr. Banuel, I'm gonna tell you what's next. What's next is going to be a legacy of great programming that's going to speak to and inspire, uplift, and empower a community of Black and Brown people. What's next is the Room for Us network, which will be, a channel featuring Black and Brown content on a whole different level. What's next is businesses that will spin off from the efforts that I'm putting into the world. And what's next is Dr. Richards' billionaire status. Stay tuned.
Love it. We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to give you a series of questions, and I would like you to give me very quick answers.
Okay.
If something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
Ooh, I'm nervous. Let's go. Let's go.
Your ideal car.
Ferrari.
Your favorite holiday.
Christmas.
What is your favorite comfort food?
Thai food.
The last movie you saw?
We Are the World documentary.
You relax doing what?
Getting a massage.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Nas is my favorite rapper.
Your favorite dance song?
I was just listening to Usher, so I really like These Are My Confessions.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Sushi.
Work out or hit the couch?
Work out.
Edford Banuel, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you, and feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you can find me, Edford Banuel, on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Instagram. My social media handle is Banuel Life, which is my last name in Life. You can find me on Facebook at Edford Banuel, and you can look me up on my website at rfuproductions.com.
Thank you. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.